That's 10.
Oh, that was 8. God, learn how to count.
You
I
were
was quiet,
counting.
though.
You were quiet. All right, you win. All right. Good evening. It is March 17th, 2022. Happy St. Patty's Day. And welcome back
2022.
to, yeah,
Old.
God, I feel old.
you are. And welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. Hey, Axel, do you know what makes our show different from other left-leaning millennial news podcasts?
We have a goose that bangs on the door.
No.
No, I got nothing.
You have an actual tame boomer. The platonic stereotype of the rich boomer.
That's right. We have a boomer. In fact, we have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Yeah,
and
good evening.
you two eat, sleep, and breathe politics.
I don't
and
know if it's politics, but yeah.
I'm still learning.
No, but it's the Great Game by any other name.
Yes,
Without
absolutely.
any of the Dulles Brothers scumbaggery or the... Look, I love me some Wild Bill Donovan, but the OSS...
So-
the oh-so-social is the perfect description.
Yes.
Okay, so the benefit to y'all that are listening is that's 3 unique perspectives that we share with the facts from our literal round table. Let's dig right into our headlines.
We're supposed to have facts?
Webb Space
shit.
Telescope works. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So NASA has published a beautiful picture from the Webb telescope. It is now all aligned
I
and tuned
understand.
in and a single
Ooh.
image.
Earlier today when we were discussing it, you said Hubble, and I'm like, oh, fucking
Oh.
cares?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, now I understand why you were showing it to me, like...
Yeah.
What?
So anyway, there are lots of other instruments that need to be tuned up and calibrated and so forth. But the mirror, which was the big concern, is excellent.
Can we do
So-
the maple syrup wars thing and make mirrors in space?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Depends on how big a mirror you want, whether you bother making it in
Do
space.
I care about making a big mirror, or do I just want a billion mirrors? Isn't the math problem, as long as I have mirror, it's the size of the
If you
total,
could make
isn't it?
if you could make a perfect big mirror, right, and then transport it to where you needed it,
So all this
then
sounds
a
like...
single mirror would be better.
So all this still sounds like space would be easier.
It would not be easy. It would be doable.
Transport is going to be easier.
Well, what we're doing now is we fill a big round container with glass and heat it up and then spin it slowly to get the surface that we want. Then we let it cool very slowly and then we transport the mirror to where we need it. And if you can't build a mirror that big that way, right, then you build it in
I'm
segments.
saying, I feel like space would still let us build bigger mirrors.
We could build bigger single-piece mirrors, probably. So,
I'm just saying that'd be one of the things we could do in space that wouldn't make me say rude things about
oh, okay.
the lack of scientific value on...
Yeah, you'll have to take a bunch of stuff to space, but you
Yeah.
could make it work.
That's why we should go to the moon.
That sounds wonderful. I like all
One
of
half
it.
half
the moon is
government,
not
one half
space.
Vegas. No, but we can do the space elevator from the moon using current technology, not nonsense graphene nanotubes made
Well,
out of
space
unicorn
elevators
jizz.
go to geosync.
That's fine. There's a lunar sink too.
Ah, peace. Okay, I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying we're not never going to make those graphene tubes. It's a very cute idea. I agree the math works. You could, in theory,
Yep,
or you could build one with Kevlar
on the moon. Yeah.
and learn a
Cute.
bunch about the actual doing, because we learn more from the doing. We came up with an M16A2 wildly faster than we did an M16A1.
So,
Okay, so let's move on to Putin's latest speech carries the words of a madman.
No,
yeah,
thanks.
this guy is simply crazy. With the invasion in Ukraine, just falling apart.
Turning into a fucking wet
and
bread
his
sandwich.
economy, his version of Wall Street has not been open for 3 weeks.
So that's zero.
Right. That's zero. If you can't sell it, it doesn't have any value. So he's now just babbling, right? The Russian people will always be able to distinguish true patriots from scum and
No, that's
traitors,
not even...
and will simply spit them out like an insect in their mouth onto the pavement. All hunched up. Look at
Let me know
he
when you're
looks
done. I
more
got
and
scary
more
thing.
like Nixon every day.
The YouTube video is the most scary thing so far.
Oh yeah?
They cut out the segment where he seems to have lost the thread and just babbled Trumpian nonsense
Uh-huh.
of non-connected words and bullshit cognates.
Yeah, because I watched a European news coverage. I think it was The Independent, if I'm correct. But I watched another, I watched another news channel covering the speech, and you're right, it does. There's a point where he starts kind of going off, and
even not knowing Russian, it's just
he's like, well, he's just repeating bullshit. So we're going to talk to our other people. We have some correspondents over here in Ukraine who are
if
going
it's
to
as
tell you
bad
what's
as I
going
heard
on.
it described, right? This was the most terrifying of senior moments, right? This was not, and I don't know if he's not sleeping well or what, but fuck
No,
man.
I think one of the crazy things he said is that he claimed that things are going exactly as he planned. This is happening exactly how he wanted it to happen. And I'm like, I really
Holy
don't
shit,
think that's
Russian army.
true.
Still trying to
hope
look like
that's
a
not
strong
true.
man.
Russian army, if that's true, you need to turn around. Your enemy is behind you.
Yes.
Part of my concern with the part that I was able to watch of his speech is that it really, I would bet money that this idiot believes his own propaganda. I would bet money he believes his own propaganda, which is step one to no bad things.
Well, and it's scarier than when we thought he was just a smart guy playing Trump for stupid,
Yeah.
which he certainly was doing.
right.
Boris Johnson's
but-
one thing. This is a whole ass nother.
Yeah.
This is Hitler at the
Yeah,
end,
put-
moving units around that no longer exist.
Right. And nobody telling him.
Yeah. I
Because
shouldn't
he
be
got all
fucking with him.
screechy when you told
Hey.
him.
I have to look.
Oh.
Were any of them allowed to be armed near him? I mean, I'm doubted at the end, especially not after
I don't know.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I mean, this is just terrifying in so many different ways, and
You could get it done with your hands, Russian security guards. Don't kill heads of state
I don't
just
know.
because I told you to. Just remember when they arrest you, tell them I didn't say that,
but people in
There
Europe,
gotta be stairs in the Kremlin.
right?
people in Europe are getting very concerned
Slipped on his
about Putin and the possibility that he might actually try to fire some nukes. Now, one of the things he said tonight that I did hear that was very disturbing is he's claiming that Ukrainians have nuclear bombs, and
Yep.
that is not true.
Nope.
Aggressively not
But
true.
it would explain the detonation of a
Um,
baby nuke somewhere.
So he's using this rhetoric, and he's still doing the Nazi, like, we're clearing out the Nazis and the Ukrainians are loving us and blah blah blah. And
There's been
it's
less
the
of
Nazis
that.
that are killing Ukrainians, not us Russians. And he was talking about one of his higher ups that got killed in the war, and saying that, oh well, he's a Russian patriot and he's a hero, and he's gonna, he's now like put into some post homicide, whatever it is. He's now this like wonderful hero of Russia, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
If this were 40 years ago,
Wow.
he'd have been awarded the hero of the Soviet Union.
Right.
And yeah,
no,
I
this is it's
remember the lies we
craziness.
told about Pat Tillman when the army thought lying about it was the way to go. Like, of course he's not going to be like, hey, I got a general killed for fucking around in the Ukraine who was doing what generals do when the privates won't move forward. He's standing in the middle of the road going, go! Because
Is that how he got killed?
almost certainly, that's really the only
He
use
was
of the
at the
general.
front to
Yeah,
encourage the troops.
which means
Yeah,
they-
because the troops were like, we're good.
but that means he has to be not afraid of it because it can't, like, unless you were taking a shit ton of fire, there's almost no danger in walking around.
Yeah.
Right? Bullets sound different when they're coming at you versus just fucking in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he, in theory, would have enough experience to know as long as you aren't hearing the hiss snap, it's fine. Stand up, get the boys to fucking move. 'Cause
Are
if you
your
don't
troops
move,
dying around you?
Yeah.
No.
then you're
Then
safe.
get off your belly.
Uh-huh. So
All right, so I think we should come back around to this because I feel like we have a lot of Ukraine Russia feelings.
I have more things on the coverage of Putin's speeches. One of the things that has been interesting from people I've been reading, he's no longer got his advisors on the screen.
right.
Right. When he did, he was talking about the economic impacts on Russia and all the things they're doing to help the Russian economy. He had leadership from several other places they've recently
I'm
invaded.
sorry, wait a minute. where did Russia get an economy while I wasn't looking?
Hey, Russia has an internal economy.
Sort of.
All right.
The GDP is, what did we
That's
say, the
fine.
same as Maryland?
Russia has hungry people who need food.
Yes, okay.
Right. Russia's about to figure out their kleptocracy by any other means.
Yeah.
Right. And that's in related to China. China does a lot of stuff
They may
that's not
have to
very socialist.
declipify some
It's
stuff.
usually called socialism by any other means.
No, and when we come back to this, I do want to discuss. So let's go through the rest of our stories. I feel like from now on, when we're talking about Ukraine, we should put those stories at the end because we tend. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover, and one of the things I want to cover is what's going on with China and Russia. So we'll come back to this definitely. But for now, let's move on to dangerous chickens sold for years, putting kids in comas. What is this?
So, you know, when the Republicans complain about burdensome regulations.
Burdensome regulations. So burdensome.
And
I would
you
like
ask
that
them-
regulation to be wildly, frighteningly more burdensome.
More burdensome.
How
Lot
can
more.
anyway? I'm getting ahead of you.
There were things going on that would have made it more burdensome, but Trump canceled it. And then he appointed idiots to
I haven't called
USDA.
this.
No, when you ask them, well, tell me about a burdensome regulation, they never come up with anything. Well, here's one
Or
right
if they
here,
can, it's a local
right?
one.
So we've got kids who are being paralyzed by antibiotic-resistant Campylobacter, which is turning up in like chicken nuggets, right? And this puts kids in comas, and you know.
Hold on. That's a lot of fucked up steps.
Yeah.
Because the fact that it's in the chicken nuggets and then not being cooked to a temperature that it is killed
Yeah.
that's at least 3 steps removed, of which there's fuck ups.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's now become the biggest foodborne illness in the United States. So again, the problem is that we are detecting unacceptable levels of this Campylobacter.
How many times?
Well, no, it's more important than that. We're detecting unacceptable levels, and we're still shipping it.
Yeah.
So
we know it's
companies
bad
like-
when it leaves the factory.
Companies that include Koch Foods, Tyson, Foster Farms, Purdue, and Pilgrim's Pride
That's
has shipped
every
unacceptable
chicken
unacceptable chicken on more than one occasion.
From their
you can't
family to
even-
yours.
so-
Paralysis, deafness, blindness.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
This is like
But to give
Johnson
you an
&
idea of
Johnson,
how
a fucking
carefully-
family company. This is the same
Yeah.
fucking thing.
Oh.
Only there isn't a safe brand of chicken you could buy because all of those brands own every fucking chicken
Yep.
thing in the
So
country.
you can get an idea how committed these food companies are. 12 major U.S. poultry companies broke food safety rules on 145,000
Jesus.
occasions between 2015 and 2019, or 80 times a day. So
Fuck
I'm with
me.
asshole. Let's make this regulation a great deal more burdensome until they figure out they're not allowed to
Oh, and
poison
this is
kids
only
just for their
scratching the
profit.
surface.
Oh yeah, no, it's like this everywhere.
Yeah. No, and I specifically of the chicken processing thing, they tend to hire immigrants so they don't have to pay as much.
Yeah.
And these companies also then fund right-wing things that freak out about the prayer rooms and the whatevers because they have huge Somali populations in
Yeah.
several of these, which is fine and good. But right, some of those. No, just it's this vicious cycle of paying
Repression.
poor.
Yeah.
Of oligarch bullshit.
Right.
Of there's a reason why we used to have pitchforks and guillotines.
So any of you who think Russian oligarchs are bad, the United States has lots and lots of oligarchs, and the country's run by them. And if they're not worse than Russians, it's just because we don't know what they've done.
And we were watching a thing earlier that was making that distinction, and no, it's the nice lawns thing. Of course, they don't have private security, the machine pistols, people who annoy them. They don't go to those places,
Yeah.
so they don't need that.
That's
right?
right.
It was Russian, right? Russians had that because they were afraid that a busboy they had done something bad to a family member of was going to walk out and shoot them.
Yep.
So they needed armed security present as a deterrent. We've
Visibly
never
present.
made them scared enough to worry about that sort of thing.
Yep.
And the ones who have do.
But hey, if you're disappointed in how America has supported you. America should be for all Americans, and it really isn't these days.
Yep.
And if that's disappointing to you, you might mention that to the oligarchs.
That is fair.
So next up, we got just a crazy.
Oh yeah. So speaking of crazy men,
All right.
Pat Robertson is apparently all about nuclear war. Tell me about
That's right.
this.
Slams Joe Biden for not threatening to launch nukes.
Of course.
And
God damn the evangelicals, all of them everywhere.
yeah, absolutely. And again, it's the former 700 Club televangelist Pat Robertson. Previously stated he believes the end of the world is necessary to fulfill the word of Jesus. So we can see where he's coming from.
That's why the goddamn thing. Like, this isn't normal sectarian hate for me. This is specific to this.
And
Right.
criticized Biden for not being willing to launch nuclear weapons against Russia. Nobody has said Biden is unwilling to launch nuclear weapons. And if the Russians want to find out how willing he is, they should launch one.
Fair.
But the response will be biblical.
Should be.
So anyhow, I just have one thing to say to the folks who are supposed to be looking after Pat Robertson. In the morning, when you give him the little white cup with the medications in it, make sure the son of a bitch swallows them.
I would go
check
to
his
IV.
sheets. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
He's a little old man. You can hold him down.
No, and again,
Or lock him in his room.
okay, I just want you guys to know, because, some of you I'm sure are Christian, which, as you know, that's great. I think that's wonderful.
We love you in spite of that.
Yeah, no, you're listening to us, so you obviously have the right, the right mindset, right? So that's fine. But my point is that don't get drawn in by these televangelists, because
It's a standard grift. It's called big gallwad.
these people, first of all, I don't give a fuck
All about
you.
the money.
Second of all, what you've
They're
seen,
just like Trump.
You see time and time again. What do? They buy planes, and then they brag about how I bought a plane, and then I got a bunch of money, and I bought a bigger plane, and then I bought money, and I bought an even bigger plane.
And how Gallwad wanted them to have big planes.
Yeah, and you're jealous. You're jealous because you should be jealous because
You
you're
wanna know where
not
you
as
find
cool as me and
Christianity?
as good as me.
You
and as
find it in a
Christian as
little
me.
clabbered church on a fucking dirt road in the backwoods of North Carolina. I've been there. I've seen it.
He brought their dead sons home.
Yeah.
That was
Anyway.
the best. At some point with internet, we'll get him to tell you about what he did as an airborne hold.
Now, I will say that one time when I was a teenager, I went on a road trip with some friends of mine, just kind of randomly, and we went to Tennessee. And not just any part of Tennessee, but fuck off backwoods nowhere, Tennessee. Like, this is as Tennessee as you can, as southern as you can get, really, in Tennessee. It was crazy. And we went to this, church or whatever, and it was really nice. I mean, it was a poor church, like you said, back in the, woods somewhere, down some dirt drive, whatever. But these people believed, and they were all about it, and it was actually kind of fun. They did the singing and all that stuff, which is not your classic New Hampshire, New England church, right? So this was a totally different experience for me, and it was pretty cool. And I was like, I can understand why people are into this. And at that point, I was, out of Christianity, but I thought it was cool, and I was like, this is neat, and I can understand why this draws people in. Yeah, I get it.
When it's your entire social group, yes. The problem is religion will only let you govern about 500 humans.
Right,
That'd be about
works,
right.
It works great in these tiny little towns, right, where everyone's like, I see you on church on Sunday.
That's why,
and that's wonderful.
and it does the things that actually matter aside from just molesting your kids, which here I can tell is the only reason why any church anywhere exists. But
Or take your money.
yeah, sure,
Or both.
I'd care less about the money, but no, exactly. It only works if it's everyone in your town, right? It makes sure everyone gets enough food, everyone's got clothes, all the stuff.
Yeah.
At above 500, it begins to fall apart. And the problem with religion is it is inherently in-group and out-group all at once. Right? That they can be friends with those other religions that are wrong, but they're all going to hell. Like, at a very deep level, those little schisms that they paper over right now when they're all on the same team, as soon as you ask about them, they come apart, and turns out that's the kind of thing to suicide bomb each other over.
Yeah, no. All right. So, as we move on, I want to say Can you agree that this next thing we'll save till the end, since we're going to go back to talking about Russia anyway?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that would be a good thing to lead us back into our Russian-Ukraine conversation. Okay, so let's move on to Boomer Rex's About Damn Time.
All
Tell
right,
me
so-
the good news today.
Yep. So there's a campaign to stop the oil profiteering of the fossil fuel giants. And they have obviously been using the global crisis to hike prices and, feather their own nest.
I mean, it's not just
right?
the inflation.
No, it's not just inflation. It's not just the shortage of oil or the price of oil. They've been using
Oil
this as an
companies
excuse to
lied
raise-
to us.
But we
No.
we have a perfect example of that, which is the split second people started saying that gas prices started to come down
A lot.
a lot. It's kind of amusing. So anyway, two Democrats, Sheldon Whitehouse and Representative Ro Khanna, unveiled the big oil windfall profits tax act, just days after Biden announced a ban on U.S. imports of Russian fuels.
All 2%.
And that just sent the prices soaring right now. They had an excuse they could point to. It's all Biden's doing, and look at them
Well, that's the
gas
problem,
prices
is-
just go skyrocketing.
No, because there is a legitimate argument to that when it comes to your local mom and pop gas station. They have to buy next week's gas
Yeah,
at whatever price it is.
yeah.
So fine, I get why little ones go up fast.
But for the
rest,
corporate distributors, yeah,
no, and the rest. When I worked at Circle K, the gas station we competed with was 4 miles away, not the 3 on the other corners around us.
Yep.
So, no,
Well,
and you have to look no further than their profits. They're selling fewer gallons, they're making greater profits. And of course, that goes to their shareholders, while working folks are hurting.
take it in the teeth again.
well, and
Yeah.
here's the bigger problem, right? So out here and in other places, it is very common for them to daily change the gas based
Yeah.
on what gas is being sold for that day. So what
Yes.
they have in the tank is not at the price.
No shit. They
So
have to
they're
buy next
making
week's gas.
Extra profits on
No.
that.
They make about 4 cents a gallon at the gas station level.
Right.
But when they up it before they get the new gas, is what I'm saying. That is at the
They
raised
have to
price.
pay for that new gas before it comes out of the truck and goes in their tank.
Yep. So yes, they're pricing in advance because they know they have to buy the next.
But what I'm going to
gas.
say is where I'm from, they wouldn't change the prices until they got that new gas. And they would charge you
And
the
those
price
are
of that
probably
gas.
company stations which do
Yeah.
that on a different basis.
But
Anyway,
that would make sense
the
if
whole
there's more
point
mom
is-
and pop places out here, because where I'm from, it's all, it's Chevron, it's
Chain,
Mobil, it's, Speedway.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway, the big thing here is I guarantee you that bill is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
which is sad.
But the good news is that having people talk about it is bringing down the price of gas because it embarrasses the big oil companies. And they don't like people walking around saying bad things about them.
No, how dare
So,
you?
Yeah. So I love it. I'm all for it.
Because their heads of security have told them, boss, there is no way I can protect you in this country if you fuck around with these people.
But hopefully people understand that this has nothing to do with whatever. This has everything to do with companies just trying to make some more money. That's
Yeah.
all this is.
Which would be fine if we treated them
That's a
as
good
though
idea.
that was their goddamn job, right? If we didn't pretend they were people or anything else, right? They're soulless consuming machines that are here to just make money out of whatever they can, whether that's human suffering or human improvement.
I turned it into Irish coffee.
Oh, I didn't realize you had coffee in that cup.
Yeah.
I was trying to offer you a mixer.
Ah.
All right, so dumbass of the day times 2. Tell me who's stupid.
Oh my God. So anyway, Capitol rioting GOP candidate says some folks are trying to enslave some folks.
Said it out loud. Said it in front of God and the world. Commercial. Right? That the guy?
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
Yeah.
Mrs. Gilbert. Anyway, he says folks like George Soros and Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey And they just want to enslave every generation. Of course, he didn't explain what the hell you want to enslave them
I'm
for,
surprised he managed
or
to
how they
find two
intend
not
to do
Jews
it.
to put in that list.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised he found Jews in that list.
Yeah, but it wasn't him choosing that. It's the dipshits that fucking red pilled him.
So our basic freedoms, our way of life are under attack by the courts, the schools, the big corporations. Hey, asshole! The only thing standing between you and the big corporations are the schools and the courts and the Congress.
Yep.
And you keep trying to elect people who will be on their knees with their little knee pads in the Oval Office to the oligarchs and the big corporations. So you keep on doing that and see
Yes.
how that works
That's-
out for you.
Yeah.
Historically, unbelievably fucking well. He'll live like the Argentinians who fled the last time the rich in Argentina collapsed it.
Because big corporations can influence every aspect of our daily lives. And you think the people that you were voting for are going to help with that?
Fuck no. They have been
You
exclusive-
have been duped.
At
You are a
best.
gullibility.
At worst, what he's more likely is one of the people who's figured out the Republicans would decide they're going to run on populism. They're going to vote for oligarchs.
So anyway, he's got friends, and his friends are, they believe that lizard people run the government.
Fucking of course.
Yeah.
Like, fuck around, you idiots.
It's
Turn the
the
light.
Raptors again.
Turn 911 off for one night, and we can sort this problem the fuck
No,
out.
but you don't understand. The Raptors are our friends.
Yep.
They like us.
As long as
They
they-
also like us with ketchup,
They're
but that's not
also
the point. They're also
mercenaries.
huge on chocolate. They will murder you for chocolate.
Yeah, and they're
apparently.
mercenaries, so don't trust them. But no, exactly. The problem with this, my problem with it is that I'm freakishly conversant in the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is all of the studies we've done show that as we get into a less and less material state
Yeah.
for the average human, conspiratorial thinking goes up.
Yep.
Interesting.
They know someone is fucking them. They can feel that.
They just don't
Yeah.
know who. Yeah.
Of fucking
And-
course not. They went to whatever schools that shithead went to.
Well, and
slept
what
through.
they should recognize is that the people who are going to fuck them are the same people who've been fucking them for decades, and it's what
You
used to
think
be the Republican Party and is now the Nazi Party.
Exactly how
Right.
long do you think it took every time we hung out a help wanted sign for overseer to find one?
Yeah.
That's what he's auditioning for.
Yep.
It won't take him any time at all to find.
So anyway, it
flock,
turns
yeah.
out that America's not the only place that has Trumpistas.
Of
No.
course not. No.
And it turns out England
Canada's
has some
got a bunch of them, too.
Trumpistas.
Well, they elected Boris.
The internet
right?
goes everywhere.
So anyway, Shane Pooley has been suspended from the party for 3 months after posting comments on Facebook that supported and justified little Mr. Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And his excuse for that was that little Pootie boy just wanted to give the Ukraine its independence.
And by little pooty boy, you mean crazy madman.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
little
yeah.
Pootie boy,
Yeah.
Fuck.
the one who's
Dum-dum.
not quite as tall as Tom Cruise.
Which is so sad.
And you're very tall, Tom Cruise. Don't let them laugh at you. You gotta get out of that church, man.
Oh my God, I
We
just
could hang out.
realized
We could be friends.
Vladimir Putin is the only man in the world who can stand next to Tom Cruise and make him look manly.
Yep.
Oh my God.
No, I love Tom Cruise. He's a great actor, whatever. But
I do like Tom Cruise.
I don't appreciate his personal beliefs at the moment.
So anyway,
Sad.
oh
Very
yeah, we're
sad.
just doing great.
He would be a great guy if he could get out of that shit. But
Yeah,
anyway.
you can't. That's why they record your confessions.
Oof.
Yeah,
All right.
no, exactly.
So did we want to discuss this a bit more, or do we want to move on?
Let's move on.
All right. So
I was just amused that they had
Yep.
fair.
a
That
British
kid doesn't corner as well.
MP who just completely stupid.
All right. So the next thing, did you say MTT or MTG?
MTG.
Okay, fine.
I probably said MGT.
No,
which
you
is
said
something else.
I thought you said MTT, and then you corrected
I did
yourself, and you said MTG. Or
Marjorie
you
Taylor
corrected
Greene,
me.
ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Guess what? News breaking just now. She said something dumb.
She said real Americans don't care about the Ukraine. No, hey, honey, I got some stuff to explain to you, okay? Real Americans care about the Ukraine because it's a free and democratic country being assaulted by the scum of the earth. led by little Vladimir Putin. What you're talking for is Merkins or Trumpstanians,
Or
but
something
not
else.
Americans.
Yeah.
People who don't respond
To
when
those-
they see freedom being threatened.
To those to
Anywhere.
whom great wealth and great power are given, great deeds are expected. And that is the role of the United States of America, is to support freedom wherever we can.
And if not, have our forces stack arms on the decks of aircraft carriers.
We
and
can
send them
save
to the
lots and
next
lots of
kids.
fucking money, and we can find, yeah, who's the next country who's going to stand up?
I nominate
And I'll
Australia.
tell you one that will. I'll
Ukraine.
tell you right now, the fucking British will stand up.
They played that game.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this once. You can suck my pussy.
Gross.
Fuck off.
Got there. Yeah, no, again, another one who this was a completely unforced error, right?
Yeah.
Read the fucking room, stupid. And the answer is they're trying to drive the room.
Yeah, no, Marjorie Taylor Greene cannot stand the idea
Yeah.
that she will not be on the front page of CNN, which I've never seen her on. But she'll make the front page somewhere every day. That's her whole goal in life, is to see her
Right?
name in
That's
print.
how she stays in the good job.
Yep,
Politician, good indoor work if you can get it.
yep,
No, she's a fucking whiny little bitch, and I'm sick of her mouth.
yep.
No. There's a
She's a
difference
Trumpista
between
Karen.
a powerful woman
No,
who
she's the
is being
unengaged
a leader.
nonsense I've watched destroy America since 2000.
Yeah.
But this bitch be crazy, okay? This bitch is spouting on about, Jewish lasers and real Americans don't care about
That's
Ukraine
right.
and fucking.
You can
fuck
get the
off.
combat patch of the Jewish space lasers if you need something for your jacket.
Right?
Yeah.
Fucking.
So
you want
them
to talk
secret
about a
Jewish
real
space
American,
lasers,
fucking,
right?
You ain't it, girl.
Yeah.
You ain't it.
No, of course not. It's all been fucking dress up and pretend.
Yeah, it's a cosplay.
Seeing how close you can get by posing with the rifles to look like you're calling for insurgency, but then run away when there's a body count.
Oh, absolutely.
And be like,
They're
no,
always
it's too soon. Don't
They're
politicize it.
always advocating violence, but you let somebody flip them off, and they're immediately whining to the press. Oh my God, Antifa
operatives,
flipped
yep.
me off. No, an American citizen flipped you off, you piece of shit.
Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
No one cares.
And
No,
drive home
wanna
if you
talk
can
about,
afford it.
You want to talk about, being a strong person rather than a weak person? A weak person whines about the type of shit that we hear from these Republicans on the daily.
Oh, absolutely.
These people are weak as fuck. They
Yeah.
talk about, oh, these
Oh,
people
this is
need
all
safe
white
spaces.
fragility.
You all are the ones that need safe spaces, and you whine about it every fucking day, and I'm fucking sick of hearing it.
Safe space is a perfectly
Hope y'all
legit
die of
attack
COVID.
because it requires more time for us to explain it and defend it
To what
than
a
it
safe
did for
space
them to
actually
say
is.
it.
Yep.
No, they understand asymmetric warfare in a way that we need to fucking learn. Or learn to goose step. It's bad for the knees. You're going to need a lot of chondroitin going forward as the Fourth Reich. But
Chondroitin's amazing, by the way.
it won't matter. By the time they take power, they'll have repealed all the regulations and you'll be getting sawdust and AIDS.
Ugh.
So
Or
anyway,
whatever's cheap.
Grow your own. Grow your own. It's fine.
Steve Bannon live streamed going into the U.S. District Court where he's facing contempt of Congress charges. Of course, his defense is his lawyer told him to do it, which makes them both guilty of a felony, by the way, and completely removes any protection that was offered by attorney.
No attorney-client privilege now.
So anyway,
He
he's
advised you to
walking in
commit
and
crime.
he
He's
says
a co-conspirator.
You know, this all knows we're dedicated to take down the illegitimate Biden regime and stop it. Again,
off.
we're out there right at the verge of advocating violence and whining about how he's being treated by the court.
Absolutely.
Of
So
course.
just
How else do you do it?
thin-skinned little nothing.
Yeah.
And let's don't forget, right? This man was stealing money
From the Build the Wall kids.
from the Build the Wall kids. You know, again, working folks who sent in 10, 20, 100
Who
bucks
honestly
to get
think
a
the
wall.
problem
they-
in America is that too many illegals are coming in and driving down their thing. And the problem is, if you look at the people who went to the January 6th insurrection,
Yep.
that's actually fairly close to their observable reality. Or at least that's enough part of their observable reality, not the driving the wages.
And so I'll give you a hint. The fix has nothing to do with building a border wall. The fix has to do with getting together with your friends at work and creating a union
Yeah.
and asking to have your share
Of the quality you produce.
of the quality that you produce.
Yeah.
But you
No.
were the ones who were so jealous of union workers. You helped tear down the unions in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just jealousy. So join with your friends, form a union, and demand better wages.
Yeah.
No, and we're not saying that some unions weren't necessarily bad, because some of them were
Oh,
bad.
no.
But-
No, unions are like anything else. They're like a political party.
Yeah.
They're like
You
a
gotta keep
mega
it good.
church. They're like Congress. You have to keep it straight. You have to hold people accountable.
Right.
And so, yeah, there were some unions where the top level people were just fucking little oligarchs, and they were off spending the money for their own private shit. And if you don't have the right control structures in place in your union, it'll happen again.
And if you believe in a non-violent society, I'll point out the times when these things worked a lot better was when there was a chance someone was just going to walk in your office and beat the absolute living shit out of you.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and again,
And
this
pay a
is-
$54 fine for fighting.
Yep.
the benefits of unions far outweigh the few unions in the past
Oh,
that
yeah.
have gone down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And those are easy enough to spot, and they're easy enough to be like, no, you're out. We need some new people in here.
I don't know that it was easy, but we did get most of them out, and we're still convicting some every now and again.
Yeah.
So,
But again, that doesn't make unions as a whole bad any worse than the issues we're having with
So
the
here's an
government
idea
today
for
makes
your
government
union.
as a
So
whole
none of
bad.
the examples they used to destroy unions were the corruption at the top. They liked those cats a
Oh, they
lot.
did.
They
yeah. No,
really
those were
did.
their buddies.
So here's a suggestion for the union. If you form a union, agree that the highest salary the union will ever pay to a union leader is 5 times the highest salary paid to any other hourly worker.
I got a better one.
I'd have said 2.
I
but
got a better one. Make sure that all the people who are running this union work like in the union, like they're actual workers. They get paid because they work in the union. Maybe you give them an extra couple of bucks or whatever for doing this on the side. But if you get enough people doing it as a side thing, then these people are only
If your union
benefiting.
gets big enough,
when-
you're still going to
Yeah.
need union leadership. And again, the whole thing is you don't want to attract the people who want $1 million a year.
No.
I don't think it. What the fuck do we think any human's endeavor is worth point to one whose annual output is worth $1 million?
Certainly not any of the people who are billionaires.
No, I
right
got a
now.
hard time.
We could probably find a handful, but yes.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking emergency surgeons, a couple of people who
Yeah,
are really doing
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah.
But one, I don't think they're making $1 million a year. But
Well, and they're not doing anything good for the poor people if they're charging that kind of
I think
money.
they're charging that much.
Pediatricians don't.
Yeah,
Probably some heart surgeons do.
let
anyway.
me call it 3 million. Right, we're still not in a real number that CEOs get paid in
Oh,
yet.
hell
so,
no. Nowhere near it.
and now I don't have to worry about pesky doctors being annoying.
So, but I love hearing Bannon whine because I think
Yeah.
Bannon whines loudest when he's most scared.
Well, and he's
So.
a piece of shit.
I don't think Bannon's scared. I think Bannon's got the same thing Manafort does. Going to jail is going to make him look good, not bad.
Yeah, no.
Then let's make sure it's a long enough sentence that he regrets it by the time it's over.
I don't think he will. I think
So,
he's going to have a comfy
Do a no-fly and the
ride.
other stuff that gives there any chance to be a Biden second term. He's got to move on. I agree with the progressive wing that he's got to move on the executive orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's head on back to our Russian-Ukraine conversation, but let's start off with how wealthy Russians bought their way into the West.
Oh yeah.
Well, so I give you an example, right?
Right.
So MI6 had problems with Russian oligarch Evgeny Lebedev, whose father was a former KGB agent, right? But that didn't keep him from being nominated by the UK Prime Minister for a peerage. And Lebedev's comment was, it's London. Money rules everything. Anyone and anything can be bought.
Yes.
And part of that was, right, London was the banking center of the earth. Still is to some extent.
It's certainly the banking center of the West, or of the Europeans.
Yes, less so than it once was. It was once, and
Yeah.
not long ago.
When sterling silver mattered, yeah.
Okay,
So anyway,
First, we
There's
have a
a-
question.
yeah, I got a quick question.
yes.
What is a peerage for those of us who don't know? And this is a France thing?
No,
England.
this is a British thing.
British thing. Sorry.
So a British knight, to be called sir.
Okay, so like Elton John.
Yeah.
Yes.
Several other
So
actors.
he would
yeah.
be considered a
These
peerage,
are
Be
awards
called
that are
third
given-
method.
sir,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Or more than that, if depending on the peerage.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's an award which is supposed to be for substantial service to the British Empire.
And the Queen is the one that does these.
The Queen is the one who makes the final decision and hands them out.
Awesome.
And there are all kinds of different levels.
Yeah. This is basically investor visas for the
Okay.
pale.
No, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to explain because I
Yeah.
wasn't certain, and I'm sure there are other people out there who are like, "What the fuck's a
No,
peerage?"
it's the horrible ways
Because we
they
don't have that
oligarchs
in America.
intertwine themselves, always through money.
Yep.
Again,
That's how you worm
we
your way
don't
in.
know who owns 50% of $1 million plus housing in New York City.
Yep. And that's something
That's
we should
problematic.
fix.
Yeah.
We should just
That's
seize
very
it and see who shows
problematic.
up to be like,
To
can I get in
prove
my
that
house?
they own it.
Yeah. No, one of the things Republicans should be all about is Russians are really big on the birth tourism.
Oh yeah.
Loads of Russians come over here just to have a child who's now an automatic American citizen and not subject to a lot of these sanctions.
So, anyway, I just found it amusing. Oliver Bullough, who's a former Russia correspondent, now does kleptocracy tours. And he takes people out by the busload, right, to elegant mansions and steel and glass apartment towers in Knightsbridge and Belgravia, points out the multi-million pound residences of shady expatriates, right?
Yeah.
Tax dodgers, kleptocrats, oligarchs, criminals, whatever you want to call them. And that's where the derogatory, well, actually, yeah, it's derogatory, moniker for London came from, which is Londongrad.
Ooh, I like
What
that.
is it? Repeat that.
Londongrad.
London
Grad.
Like Stalingrad or Leningrad or any of the other Russian cities.
Right. So anyway, yeah, London's just infested with the assholes.
MI6 was just infested with the assholes.
Yeah, well, that's historical.
Do largely the same paths.
Yeah.
All
Speaking
right.
of so social.
Oh, Jesus.
So I mentioned yesterday about Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, speaking to the U.S. Congress and then also speaking to Canadian Parliament. So, first of all, I want to say that I watched both speeches, and so during his speech to Congress here in America, he played a video, and it was disturbing and heart-wrenching, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me cry. I was just beside myself with the visions of women and children and men being separated and having blood on them and seeing people dead, missing body parts, and families just being destroyed, dead pregnant women being carried out on stretchers, and dead babies trying to be saved from their dead moms' bodies. And it was just absolutely horrifying. Like, oh, I was just so.
Behold the power of propaganda. No, it was well done.
It was a wonderful description, I guess you could call it, of what these Ukrainians are going through day to day, right?
Yep.
This is
If
their
every
new
Ukrainian
normal.
is either a child or a hot girl, yeah. But
Um,
it was, again, beautifully done.
No, and they had old
No,
people,
propaganda
young people,
has the-
middle-aged people. They had everybody in
For
it.
sure.
propaganda carries the connotation of it being false.
Oh no,
Isn't.
this is. I'm not saying it's not false or not true.
No, but I'm saying
This was
it carries-
designed. She described several things aren't pictured in there, but she invented them and she believes them now.
Well,
Yeah,
no, because
that's
I
cool.
know some of the videos were from certain, certain.
Absolutely.
scenes because
And I'm not
seen-
denying that it's propaganda. It's
For
good
sure.
propaganda. It's also based on truth.
No, but I
Yeah,
saw
the
the
best
full
is.
videos and the news reports that
Yes.
went along with them,
No,
which is why I'm
absolutely.
able to extrapolate
Mhm.
exactly what was happening in these scenes.
Mhm.
Right.
So, sure, maybe I am kind of making. my
You're
own
seeing
story
the
in my
whole
head.
video you saw, not the video as was shown.
That's fair. No, that is fair.
So no, and that was the point. That's why they did it with the jump cuts. Like it was again, master. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And show
did it.
stuff that had been broadly released so that when you saw the
You
whole thing.
recognized it, and your brain remembered it again.
Yep.
No,
with all
I'll
the
give
additional
you that,
detail that
yeah.
you got from the second or third.
Well,
And
and
the
that
news
feeling
stories
of the
attached
early
to
days
them.
when it
Right.
wasn't right. No one knew it was happening.
Yeah.
And anything could be true.
Now, I will say his speech was very powerful. He brought up, how we felt as Americans when Pearl Harbor was attacked, how we felt as Americans when 9/11 was happening, and what if these events were happening to us on a daily basis, how would we feel, and what would we want other countries to do to help us
Yep.
if we didn't have the ability to necessarily help ourselves? And this was a very powerful speech. And, again, you throw that video on like close to the end there. And it broke me in ways that I was not prepared for. Because when we clicked on the video, YouTube was like, oh, well, are you sure you want to watch this? It's got graphic content. And I laughed. I was like, graphic content? What are you talking? It's a speech by Zelensky, right?
YouTube, you'd absolutely feed up child porn to predators and do
And
on
do
a
on
daily.
the daily, yeah. Not that's. I mean, you do YouTube because we post on you daily, but like we're not okay with your child porn things. Anyway, the point is that it was very emotional, and at the end of it, everybody kind of clapped and like whatever, like fine. Now, when I watched the one that he did in Canada, totally different feel to the whole thing. Okay.
Really?
So, before Zelensky spoke, the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is the Prime Minister of Canada, which is equivalent to our president-ish. But anyway, so he made this very beautiful speech about how Ukrainians are our friends and we're horrified by, the crimes of Russia and what they're doing, and that we will support you through all these things and blah, blah, blah.
We nearly gave Ukraine as much as Canada spends annually on its military.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not saying
That's why the difference in the speeches.
No, I get that. But again, Justin Trudeau made this very wonderful speech, and then Zelensky spoke. And again, as an American, his speech to Canada, it didn't. I don't know a lot of Canadian history. That's probably my beat.
That's not a lot.
But I'm not sure. Like, he kind of tried to invoke the same feelings, and I think he did a good job.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'll explain that at the end. But he does this thing where he says, "So you have this city and that city, and could you imagine if they were bombing it, and then people, you have troops coming through your borders and surrounding your towns and bombing your towns." So he kind of described exactly what's going on in Ukraine, only using Canadian
Yeah, the way
towns
you
and
get
cities
people to feel for you.
that they care about. And
I'm sure they were well chosen for similarity in size.
yeah, so he just did a wonderful job turning this speech into, from a totally American speech to a totally Canadian speech, and just masterfully done. And at the end of his speech, you had people, clapping, and I'm sitting there for 5 minutes through this clapping, right, as Parliament is just clapping, and I was like, do they think that every time they clap, a Ukrainian gets a gun? Is that what they think they're doing?
Half of them aren't figuring out how to spin this all as bullshit next week is the difference.
But the wonderful thing is, after about 5 minutes of clapping, they started chanting "Glory to Ukraine," that was wonderful. I
Excellent.
enjoyed it. It was very, very
So we got him stirred up. We'll see if it does anything.
But yeah, I also heard he did a speech in Germany today. Was that today? Okay, so he did a speech in Germany today.
Got standing ovations.
Which
Yeah.
he mentioned all the same. So he's on this thing and he's saying, please, his main goal in all of this is that he wants no fly zone over Ukraine, which I totally agree with, and Asshole has opinions on.
Yeah, at some
Originally-
level, part of the reason why the applause in America in the U.S. Congress wasn't as loud is, as I said, half of the people there are trying to figure out how next week they're going to be back on Tucker Carlson's side and perfectly okay with
Comrade
whatever.
Carlson.
Hey
Yep.
man, it's important that America's a pro-business country or whatever. We need to take up all of the room so the right has nowhere to say, well, we should have done this. Right, force them all into the Pat Robertson's crazy glow-in-the-dark corner.
Yeah.
Right.
That no, we are not going to have it. We are not going to hit the nuclear fucking reset button over Ukraine, and that is at some levels tragic because really, millennials should be all in favor of it because we die now, we die 20 years from now.
Well, and after 50 years, probably it's good for the environment.
Aye.
Well, no more humans, and it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway, no, we need to, and I'm sure that there are people who are sitting around tables as we speak going,
The fucking
if
better
this
be.
goes on for another week or so, and we keep seeing them intentionally kill civilians and so on, and civilian infrastructure, at what point do we say to the Russians, you're done, you lost, get out?
And this is what I'd use the Red Cross and Red Crescent for. You're going to go in, you're going to be in these corridors.
Yep, and humanitarian convoys bringing in
Yeah.
food and medicine and water and so on.
And if they bomb you, we will fuck them up.
Now, what I want
Yep.
to, I don't want to talk too much because I don't know what's going to come of this, but I do want to mention that I actually have a contact in Europe. I'm not going to say where yet, but I do have a contact in Europe that I'm trying to get in touch with to see if we can get some more information about what
How they're feeling.
Europeans,
Yeah.
how they feel about all this,
Yeah.
how it compares, because I'm pretty sure she's a Gen Xer. So she would know how it compares to that.
She would remember how
SSR.
Norway has behaved previously when the Soviets got antsy.
Yep.
Anyway, so I'm hoping that I can get this interview with her and I will present it in an interview style, or maybe I'll have one of you read the questions I asked and I'll
Okay,
read her
sounds
response
cool.
or something. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out. But I'm hoping we can do this to get a real solid on the ground view from somebody over in Europe who's literally living with this.
I genuinely have no concern about being invaded. The idea of a foreign country invading the United States, they'd be lucky to find enough soldiers to
Well,
surrender to.
first they're going to have to take either Canada or Mexico to stage it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and again, I think we have to remember that Putin is crazy, but I don't think he's crazy enough to bomb us. He'll bomb Ukraine. I see him dropping a nuke on Ukraine long before he'll consider dropping a nuke anywhere else.
Tactical nukes. I don't know what happens. We're not going to use the strategic nuke in response.
No, I think that would be dumb.
Or right there on
we
the
do
border,
not
maybe. But
want-
if you read, that's some real
I
ass
think what
brinksmanship.
we've learned from watching is that Russia's military is a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I strongly suspect that includes their strategic forces. Right? There's no reason to believe they're any better.
No, but they can drive there. You could absolutely. And give me a while, I could figure out how to make a nuke core work.
No, and again, Putin is weakening his position by saying, everything's going just as planned. It's exactly how I wanted it to go. If
That's all
this is
he
how you
can say.
wanted it to go,
No, but
then
at some point,
I don't know what to say to you, buddy.
we intervene.
Yep.
Right? Establishing humanitarian corridors, et cetera, et cetera. When the Russians do something stupid, and they will,
Yep.
we respond with conventional military might in an absolutely crushing blow.
Yep.
Right. So initially, you both were against a no-fly zone. I think you have changed
There
your
won't be
opinion.
any need for a no-fly zone.
Right, but
6
but-
hours after President Biden gives the order, there won't be any operable Soviet aircraft anywhere near the Ukraine.
Yep.
you think that Putin will bail?
I
think
Putin,
we'll kill all of his air assets.
I don't think Putin will pull air assets from other places to reinforce Ukraine. I think he will collapse back to Crimea and take a win.
And if he
I
does
think
that,
he
that's
should have done
fine.
that
And
already.
if he wants to fly
Oh,
aircraft
I-
from Russia, we can fly combat air patrols
No, but
over
as
Ukraine.
yeah,
So
And no
here's my
matter
thing.
what he sends, no one of them will ever go
He
home.
falls back to Crimea, right? And then now the world stage is discussing reparations and all that shit. Okay.
Germany is pushing hard to go back to normalizing trade. I don't trust Europe on this.
And what we should be doing at that point
Why
is
would
insisting.
I thought Germany was wicked against this.
Germany's
what was the
been
line,
pretty scared.
Zelensky used to get the Germans in his speech.
I won't tell them where all the Nazi gold is. I don't.
Anyway,
No, you were saying it earlier, and now
That
my
there's a
brain-
wall that grows tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said you're a bunch of bitches and letting us die in East Germany. Only it won't be the land of the forgotten.
so anyway,
The Valley of the Misinformed. What is? I'll look it up. No, but Germans have a rude word for the East Germans.
no, while the iron is hot, at that stage, what we would be proposing is that all of the seized Russian funds be put into a single package and delivered to Ukraine for rebuilding.
Yeah.
Right? Make it cost the Russians beyond their wildest
Now
imagination.
here's my thing. Once things cool down, can we be like, all right, Russia, you had your fun, give back Ukraine, or not Ukraine, Crimea.
Crimea, probably not. Russia really needs the ports there.
Right, but that's all the more reason to deny it.
It's all the more reason for them to fight it. And remember, we in Iraq and Afghanistan we faced.
I'd
less than
rather
1%
take
of the
I'd rather
population.
take the win, take their money to rebuild Ukraine,
And let
and
Ukraine
after
do it
4
over
or 5
time.
years,
Yeah.
make Ukraine a member of NATO.
Yep.
And surround them with countries that if they invade, they will fully invoke the 5th article and we will crush their military.
So we're basically taking an L on
God, it'll be
Crimea.
3 fucking pop-up targets.
Or what? Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna take Crimea. That
They've
has
had
happened.
it for a number of
Crimea.
years.
I keep pronouncing that wrong. I apologize.
When did they take
I blame
Crimea?
the
Does
good
anybody
whiskey
remember?
we're having
8 years ago.
for
It was what?
St.
8 years
Patrick's.
ago. No,
Yeah, I
and
would
it's a
not
region.
reopen that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, and Russia can pump real troops in there. Russia does have real troops. I don't know where they all are. Maybe they all took this month off. But they do
Or
have
they're
real forces.
absolutely outright refusing to go in. I don't.
These aren't
believe
usually the
that,
cats
but-
that would do that, but right, they're little green
Potentially.
men, a Wagner group. They've got the ability to, in at least Crimea, make it unbearably expensive.
Well, the other thing is we've heard stories that a lot of these Russians weren't even told they were going there. It's
Yeah,
These
the kids I'm worried about aren't that. Right, if nothing else,
These are
they
not
can-
A-list soldiers.
seen
Let's
the
put it
news.
that
it's
way.
not even a little bit.
Yeah,
So this is D-list.
at best.
Yeah.
No, but
Been
once
grading on a
again,
curve.
I would like to express my gratitude for those Russians who are supporting Ukraine and who are against this war. Keep up the good work. And I'm sorry, I don't think we will ever be able to get a list of names.
Nope.
No, of course not.
Because I would literally be willing to sit down and record myself reading all of these names. Unfortunately, I don't think that's
But for
ever
right
going
now,
to happen.
Marina Ovsyannikova can stand for them.
Yeah, no, and we support her and every other person who's doing their own news or maybe
No,
running their own podcast, trying to get out to their friends. This is what's really happening. Oh, and Anonymous
Yep.
has been doing really cool things. Tell us
Hacking
about the Anonymous hack.
CCTVs and putting text on the screen.
Yeah, and the text says stuff like,
325
Putin's
civilians
lying
died
and-
today. Putin lied.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all the good annoying hacker
That's
shit.
right.
No, the problem with Russia is, remember, this is a country that killed 20 million of its own people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say like we shouldn't freak out about the German Holocaust, but not the only one. And
And with leadership that was not terribly different than the scum they have today.
No, not
Little
even
Pootie
a
boy.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as tall. Never mind.
fair, no, I think it's a good hit, and I think it would bother the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I think you don't take that many.
I wonder
pictures
if
trying
his
to look
hands are
manly.
smaller than Trump's.
That's a good. I bet.
I
we should
bet
ask that
money.
kid on TikTok that figures out the size of things.
Oh shit! Yes.
There
So
must be
TikTok
pictures
guy,
of him
help us
shaking
out.
hands.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just holding a known object of known size.
Yes, true.
Oh, but even better,
That's-
I bet you.
That fucking
bet
soccer ball.
Yeah,
That's almost certainly a regulation size ball.
absolutely.
I bet
And
you
they
I could
both
find
held
a
it.
picture Putin and Trump shaking hands.
Yeah.
If we could just get a good look at it.
And that soccer ball, run that soccer ball down too.
Oh God.
We can measure little finger length against the little soccer ball hexagons.
You know, a lot of so you guys hear us say a lot of like negative things about people. A lot of this is frustration. We are frustrated, and there's nothing wrong if you have small hands. The reason why we're making fun of people like Putin with small hands is because
Kind of about the same.
he hates that. This drives him crazy. Oh shit.
Yeah, right?
A little bit smaller, but yeah, they're pretty close.
No, and the first bunch of images I found, Putin often sits when he's shaking hands with people, which would make sense.
Yeah, because he's so short.
He doesn't want to.
He
Want
doesn't want that contrast photo ever.
Yeah.
Again, it's like bringing the dogs in when he was meeting with Andrea Merkel.
Yeah.
And her security guys should have shot his dogs.
No, and again, here's my thing. I have no problem with short people. I have no problem with people with short hands. What I have a problem with is people who aggressively try to make up for their short failings. One of my favorite things to do when I'm driving down the highway and some asshole in a big ass fucking truck drives by, you know, like, whoa, like being a dick, right? I'm always turn and look at them and say, sorry about your dick, as they speed on by, because they're making up for something. So my thing is...
Well, they feel they have something to make up for. Like, that's the problem, is they've taken this off-ramp into Looney Town.
Right, and they believe that having this small dick, having small hands, being short-statured, makes them less of a person or less of a man, and it doesn't. What makes you less of a person and less of a man is committing war crimes, doing atrocities, being rude to people for no reason.
A gun makes you a
Taking
man.
out your own frustrations on other people makes you less of a human.
Yeah.
Human. Men do this, women do this. No, you are not a better person because you told off that person who gave you, made you the burger wrong. Because I promise you, the person you're yelling at didn't make your burger, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, you are trying to put power, like put yourself in a place of power, and you're better than them, and you're not. You are worse than them for opening your mouth and being a dick about it. There's nothing wrong with taking a burger and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry. I asked for this.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Could I please have a correct one?" And they will be
They
will
themselves.
fall over themselves. They'll give you a thing for a free meal next time you come. Whatever. They don't care. What I hate is these assholes that have to make, I want my money back and I want a burger.
Right.
Well, you get one or the other. I can't do
They're
both.
angry about having been victimized by their whole ass life. They are the first generation of Americans who are genuinely experiencing what capitalism looks like when you don't have the free market to keep it safe.
Yep. And these people need to seek mental health. The mental health system is our biggest problem. We explained to you why
Or
already.
a union.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
But anytime you're looking for a photograph that just advertises inadequacy, you have to picture Roy Moore and his little cap gun.
God, yeah.
Makes it so obvious.
Is that same idiot that couldn't ride a horse?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. Fuck, I hate that guy. He's so
The same
dumb.
one who's reported to have chased teenage girls.
Oh yeah. Of
You
course.
can understand that perfectly. Just look at the
Oh,
picture
my
of him
God.
and his cap gun.
Last thing you want is them to have anything to compare their
I
experience
know.
to.
Oh Jesus.
Oh my God.
Again, just because you're short-statured or because you have small hands, that doesn't make you a bad person, and we won't make fun of you for it. We're making fun of these people for their failings because
where they
it
took it.
drives them
I mean,
crazy because they are bad
Failing implies
people.
they had any choice in it, which is the fuck up these idiots are making.
Right.
No. Anyway, we're obviously done the internet. Just
Obviously.
No, I'm sorry.
We're down to talking about Roy Moore and his cap gun.
No, and I'm sorry that this wonderful whiskey we've been drinking to celebrate
fucking
St.
you two. No
Patty's
more
Day.
booze.
It's
Yeah, you've
just
had
gone
quite
to
a
my head.
bit.
This is me saying it.
I had about the same amount as you did.
I had two.
Yeah, I had, okay, so I had 2.5. Fine. Anyway, the point is that we love you all. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Don't
need an
forget to go to
airship.
don't forget to go to our Patreon so we can get our airship. You get our pregame show, which is super exciting.
LSD boat. Oh my god, I want a flying boat.
If you
flying boat.
want, go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces. If you scroll down, you're gonna find
Surface skimmer or a high flyer?
I posted
Okay.
a couple of completely free Patreon, so you can see what you get when you sign up with us.
Because the seaplanes are just tiny shitbirds.
Yeah.
So if you scroll down through our Facebook, you'll find those free Patreons so that you can see what you'll get as our pregame show as part of your package. And I'm also thinking of editing our lowest tier
Want some
package.
candy? First one's free.
Yeah, no, all the freeness. So my point is that you need to like, comment, subscribe, heart, follow. Let us know how you feel. Do you love us? Do you hate us? And don't forget to go to our YouTube, which is I think it's BoomerRex. And then if you search for BoomerRexTonight, it'll get you to our shows, and then you can find us. It's BoomerRex. You'll recognize the little
absolutely.
symbol. And
Comment. We need some comments.
yeah, go to Twitter and look for us at BRexTonight on Twitter. I post memes and our show there and our Patreon there, so hit that up as well. And don't forget, you can find us on almost any podcasting service at this point. We're on a bunch of them.
That's lame.
We're on a bunch of podcasting services as BoomerRexTonight, so you can find us on a majority of your major services and a lot of the smaller ones as well. So keep your eye out for that, and we love you all, and we'll see you back here. What's today? Thursday?
Monday.
Is today Friday?
No, tomorrow's Friday. Sorry.
Yeah,
This is
today's
tomorrow.
Thursday. Oh my God, you scared me. Okay, so today's Thursday. So we'll see you back here tomorrow night on BoomerRexTonight.
Good night, the internet.
Good night.